We are so back again with another rocket map. Hopefully you can't hear Galacta screeching at the top of her lungs that the match is starting. This is the Spider Islands. So Rocket has a few ways to roll out on this map. And I think the best rollout are these little slatted doors here. I believe the best way to get out of this map is simply to do that. That is probably the best way to boost yourself over here. Yeah, you can hop up these, you can hop up this, and you can boost right over here. And you have an instant rocket shortcut that goes from spawn up to here. Perfect for hanging back and healing your team. It is a faster way to get to point first and an easy way to come back. Because if you don't do this method, you probably have to do something like meh, you know, to get back. But I feel that going up there to high ground is just a whole lot safer in general. And you can sit up here as well, but beacons don't exactly work here. But I believe on this one they do. Yes, indeed. Beacons do work here. Pretty good for if enemy team's holding this corner. Can't exactly see that. Yeah, kind of hard if they're pushing up through here. But anyways, when you first move out on this map, what you're going to want to do is either place your beacon one of two spots. One being up here, because it is just all around best shielded from anyone at choke. Or you're going to want to put it over here, which is kind of just this little indent area that no one really bothers to investigate. Now, the only reason or time that I wouldn't do this is, of course, when they have a flanker. Because, as some of you might know, this is an easy access to flank. It's what it's meant to be. And you usually can't make it unless you have some sort of movement ability, so a flanker is usually going to be using this. I've experimented around, and this point on Spider Islands is probably the best area to hold as Rocket. There's so many places he can be. And the geometry of this map just kind of allows for him to exist in places that most people can't. And all around, my favorite spot for a beacon on this map is probably right here. Yeah, if you're holding this corner, you're going to want that up in there. Because literally, who in their right mind knows about that alleyway? And I have had, like, Psylocke players going for deep flank. You know, going around for the big flank. No idea that's up there. No clue. If you want to be super, like, say you have a flanker, because they like holding up here all the time on enemy map, you can actually put your beacon right here if you want. Look at this. Yeah, now there's literally... being up there, there's no way for them to actually see it. Except for the ejection of health packs. You can either move it farther back, or you can move it farther forward. Depends who you want seeing it and when. And whenever I record these videos, I usually have game chat down on like 8. Because otherwise Galacta will just scream at you the entire time what's happening. And you don't really notice it in game with all the action, but alone, it really, really pisses me off. Anyway, when you're holding this first point, if your team's playing farther back, you can hold from up here, or you can hold from over there. It gives a good line of sight. A lot of people get baited by this spot, you know, because it's a good alleyway. But if they have a Hela, and you're somewhat high elo, that Hela is going to just... bleh, you're dead. And that's probably the #1 cause of Rocket deaths, I'd have to say. Because Rocket can get away from flankers pretty easy, but being sniped is probably Rocket's weakness, I would say. You can hold lots of places. If you want to be cheeky, you can do stuff like this. I find myself on the ground a lot of the times doing stuff like this, or angling it downwards for the double heal bounce. And if you're not sure what the double heal bounce is, basically, if you manage to hit your like tanks with this ball at an angle, and then it bounces, hits the floor, it can hit them again, technically. and kind of give them a double direct impact heal. It's been some tech for a while, and I know they tried to do something about patching it, but it still happens. Since the balls are faster and more can be out at a time, I will often be trying to do like pinball-y type things, where I'll be around a corner healing like this, and you see those balls, you see those balls over there? The more bounces that a ball does, the better. I mean, it's maximum value. It's maximum value. So yeah, I recommend holding here. If you have Penny, I recommend putting a beacon like right here so the web kind of covers this flank a bit, or put your beacon right here. This is kind of just like a tried and true method for basic rocket placements, because it's like if a flanker comes this way, he's not looking for it, and if an enemy team's pushing around this corner, they're also not looking for it. If they have flyers, it's also very good to put beacons indoors. You have to put your beacons indoors if they have Johnny, if they have Storm, if they have Iron Man. You can't be putting your beacons up in weird spots, because they'll just see it. It kind of takes the whole gamers look up thing and ruins it. They really need to make a way for you to have unlimited time on these maps, because having to restart and having to RNG like domination maps really sucks. So yeah, a lot of these roofs actually around here are walkable for Rocket, and they're also very beaconable. This map is a little bit like creative mode for Rocket, because you can just be where you want to be. I mean, you can be here, you can be up there, you can put beacons up here if you want. It's pretty good, like, defensive areas. Like, maybe if you're coming back from spawn and you're like a hard flanker, you could definitely place a beacon up here. Most of the time, if I'm holding back here, or like if I've died and I'm respawning, you shouldn't really be dying on Rocket, but if it happens, it happens. I'll usually just, from spawn, fights usually going on, and I will chuck a beacon as far as possible from where I am to try to hit someone in the res range. I like going up here and going over for when I'm recontesting, but if they have flyers, it's a lot of times better to just put the beacon in here and just like heal from this window or something. So first of all, this is a very good place to be, unless they have divers, because you're fairly far away. You can take cover if you need to, but if you're isolated, you will see an Iron Fist just punching at the air over here and running at you. In which case, it's better to be next to your second support. This is a beacon placement. You can completely hide a beacon back here, and no one will probably ever look for it. Most people don't know you can be up here at all. Same goes for this. You can put a beacon right here. Huzzah. Yeah, kind of broken, no? A lot of the map geometry in this game makes no sense. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, things you should be able to stand on, you can't stand on. Meanwhile, like, things like this, you can totally stand on and totally put a beacon on. Another good clutch spot, if you're, like, in the middle of a fight here and you don't have time to, like, go back there, you can throw res in this corner. And most of the time, people will not contest it. There are some situations where you can put a beacon in this little house. I mean, it's not the best, but like, again, most people don't know you can just break this part and hop in. Everyone knows about this house by now, probably. The fact that you can walk on all of it, and all these rooftops as well, they're kind of just free range. But yeah, usually you'll find me putting my beacons back on either side of this house, depending on what side is attacking. I suppose you could be back here healing your team if you really want to be weird, but you know, eventually they will just break this whole building down and you won't be so secure anymore. So I'm going to show you some spots here that actually tend to work in real game situations. And the first one, this is a great spot to sit. Big old bridge in front of you to stop people from like sitting down at the ground and spamming at you. Yeah, usually second point, main beacon spot is right there in the corner. This spot is a way better concealed spot. Forget what you just saw. If someone spawns here, they're going to just die. They will just fall to their doom. Do not do this. I've had this happen too many times. thinking that, oh, since there's a ledge for the beacon, there's a ledge for the player. No. Ledges for beacons and ledges for players do not work the same way. If I'm out here, I can't even... Yeah, I can't even stand out here. You just slide to your death. This is what I mean to do. This is fine. And there's also an invisible wall here, so no one can, like, come over to it. As far as this pit goes, you can also just be here, in case you didn't know. You can be in the tall grass like a Pokemon, just healing like this. And a lot of times, people won't be able to see you, and they'll just kind of be rando throwing at you. And if you're getting hit, you can go back over here, hide, be rockets. Yeah, this goes for either side, by the way. You can sit in this grass and heal from different angles. And the grass pretty well conceals you, but allows passage. Like I said, there's some weird map geometry here, because for some reason that's allowed, but this isn't allowed. Invisible blocks, like it's very confusing. So you kind of do have to look at a spot guide like this one. Yeah, second point I think is pretty dry. Third point tries to limit your creativity, but really you can do some crazy stuff here. These little things are very slidey for people. They want to slide you right off, but they're not slidey for beacons. And that's something to keep in mind, is a lot of the slidey roofs will just stick a beacon completely. Say you're pushing through this point on third, you could very well do this. Stuck. Done. They can't see it from the other side. Bingo. Vice versa, there's a roof over here, and you can put it on the opposite side. Very good for hiding beacons. Very, very good. With the map geometry, it looks like you can be certain places, but this roof is very slippery. You can kind of stick yourself in places where they haven't really coded it properly. But other than that, there's not a lot of easy access spots. And then one controversial spot I have, very controversial. It's kind of like a super secret hidden rocket tech. Would be this one. Yeah, so that's a defense beacon for sure. It's kind of hard for them to see coming in, but not from the side. And of course, I wouldn't put it over here on attack because, well, this. But yeah, you can hide it behind his leg, and you can put it on him if you want. Okay, now I'm gonna kind of try to teach you in terms of positioning on this map what you should be doing. Putting people above pits is hilarious, but they don't exactly appreciate it. Usually when you're holding this corner, if you want to be super safe, you put your beacon over there or in here. Standard. Heal team, blah, 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 blah. Double bounce. Get all your value in. You get a lot of value just being at rocket level doing this, because if you deviate your cursor down or up, the balls will just go away. But if you keep them at rocket level, straight and even, you can get maximum bounce value. As map progresses, you want to move your beacon back with your team as well. It's only a 5-second difference, but you have to time it well. Do not do it while someone is actively dying. Just kind of look at your team, make sure they're healed, press E, move it back. For attack, you can just kind of chuck the beacon behind walls. Most defenders aren't going to come flanking looking for your beacon. It's just like the fact of what happens in game. Most defenders do not flank to try to kill beacons. Attackers tend to do that. When it comes to second point, you're most likely going to be having this angle. Most likely, you're going to be on the ground doing this. If there's any, like, widows or anything else, you're probably going to play more passive and bounce around corners if you can. And I highly recommend doing this. If they have a sniper sitting right there down the line, you do not want to be doing this. Or even moving, because when you get higher up in elo, this does not counter snipers. Widow sitting there, or Hela sitting over there, you would do something like this. You find a wall to bounce off of and heal your team. Do you have to take trigonometry to know exactly what these balls are doing? Maybe. It's infinitely more value of kind of just bouncing to where your team is, rather than sitting in direct line of fire. You know, a lot of times in rank you'll have no shield tank, or, you know, Magneto will drop his shield and you'll immediately get headshot. If you find that happening to you, you need to play corners. You can do this, like, jiggle peeking type thing, but again, this only works, you know, so much. A Diamond Widow probably would never hit you if you do this. She's just gonna aim where your head is, and you just kind of mix up your pattern a little bit, and she'll probably never be able to hit you. With Rocket, you play your life. You play your life and you play the res beacon. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys in on a little rocket tech secret after I cap this vehicle. And this is kind of a strange idea of what tech is, because it involves you dying on a character that shouldn't be dying. They made it so when rocket beacon goes down, you know, you res someone. Res goes away, you're down to 40 seconds until you can do it again. If you throw res, someone gets rezzed, and you die. If you die, notice how my beacon cooldown came back immediately. Beacon down, someone gets rezzed, bonk. See that timer? It would normally be 40 seconds. 2, 1, bang. And I'm back. I'm Rocket again. You come back, you instantly have beacon when you respawn. There are situations, probably not during overtime, but this little rocket tech could probably save fights. Because theoretically, you could res someone every 15 to 20 seconds rather than every 40 seconds if you just die as soon as someone respawns. You could dash back to a 3rd point fight here. We're gonna start at the 3-minute counter and see how long this actually takes. Bleh. Bonk. Yeah, 3-minute timer. Or, yeah, 3-minute timer, ticking down. You have the 10-second respawn. Could you? Yeah, 15 seconds. That's a 15-second res timer. It just depends on your death. That's the hard part. You know, people die without your healing. If you think about it, if you have, like, triple support or something, okay? Just listen to me. You might not vibe with this. I have secretly thought that this might be Rocket's meta this whole time. Because Rocket ult doesn't go away when you die either. Rocket ult lasts 12 seconds. If you, theoretically, res someone, launch some balls, have ult down, then you could get back easily, like on 3rd point, res someone else in 15 seconds. And your ult kind of gives that 12-second barrier buff. So if you have like a heavily losing fight, that could be meta. I don't know. I could be crazy if there's more value in being alive and healing like this. But during ult, you don't really need healing. Anyway, tell me what you think. If Rocket reses someone, jumps off a cliff, and can res them another person in 15 seconds, is it worth Rocket healing being gone for 15 seconds? I'm unsure. But anyways, let's look at this whole 3rd point nonsense. Yeah, so let's say you've glitched yourself in this rocket spot, and you're healing right here. If someone comes flying up looking to you, and you retreat back here by your beacon, I mean, well, what's wrong with you, first of all? You've just given away your beacon's location. And second of all, you can't really use that spot again once someone's found it. When you're holding 3rd point, you're most likely going to be bouncing the balls off the wall here. If they have heavy pressure on supports, you're going to be wanting to do this. Look at all that coverage. If you bounce at the right angle, it goes boing, 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 boing. Whole fighting area gets covered in bouncy balls. They should add a meters indicator to Rocket's beacon through the wall, so you can see how far away you are from it. Because Rocket doesn't get the little, you know, res icon that everyone else gets to see when they're in range. So he can't really tell how far it is. You kind of have to gauge with your heart that this is around 50 meters. And you have to just like be like, yeah, that'll probably work. But another good area, like if you're getting held on this kind of final hold here, is to go and do that. Because if someone dies here and they res here, they can easily go for a flank around back if they need to, or like cut off a healer going that way. And it's very shielded. And you can pop out up here if you want as well. Yeah, that's a good last-ditch kind of beacon spot hold. On Rocket, you usually want high ground, and that's what I've learned. Because he's so short, and the ball kind of comes out from where Rocket is, you could easily be aiming like right here at your team. You could easily be aiming at your team like this, and you're getting body blocked by like something close to the ground because of how short Rocket is. And that's kind of what you have to learn on this character, is that where you're aiming is not where the ball comes out. It comes out of him. I've actually grown accustomed to flank healing because it distracts enemy team, like knowing you're here, providing healing, and they'll usually send someone for you. You know, you're healing your team, Spider-Bot's rolling up through here, you're like, oh, I'll help the team and do this, da-da-da-da-da. And people see you, they're going to chase you. And you're gonna get value by running away like this, repositioning, and going right back to it. Whereas a DPS who has to use abilities and use like resources to come try to attack you, their damage is gone while they're doing that. They're completely out of it. But Rocket can reposition and go back to healing within 3 seconds. And of course you can shoot back. They did buff his gun. I'll probably show that in the matchups guide, what you should do when you're being dove. The main thing you want to do to peel yourself on Rocket is be healing, be super boosting, and kind of just repeating the process until, and requesting assistance. I think that's infinitely more value than stopping your healing to shoot at someone. Because if you're stopping your healing, your value's gone. But if you continue healing, and you're living, and they're still chasing you, their value's gone. And you should win the fight, because they're a man down, and your team hasn't changed. That's how it works logistically. I know some games are different, where you're like, how are there 2 people on me, and we're still losing up front? Yeah, that can happen. First of all, like, if you have a weak front line, if your tank players just aren't very good, then you can kind of focus on going on flanks with your DPS and taking care of them from like weird spots, or even assisting them with damage. Because a lot of the times what you need is pressure if your tank line is weak. Yeah, pressure can come in the form of extra damage, or it can come in the form of positioning, to where they have to go out of position to deal with you. Anyway, I've played this map like 4 times, and I think I got out what I needed to on this map. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, let me know if these rocket spots work out for you. Give me the like and the subscribe. I need it. I need it. If these rocket spots pop off enough, I might start a rocket Twitch channel. That'd be really weird, right? If I started doing rockets gameplay on Twitch. Yeah, I don't know who would watch that. Drop a comment if you want a specific map covered, or if you want specific matchup guides, rocket tech, this sort of thing. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.